What is up, everybody? Thank you for joining another great episode of Happy Friday, America. I'm ready for a good weekend, an Easter weekend, and also an end-of-month weekend. There's a lot going on right now. I'm really happy to be here. Of course, my name is Arthur. That's the Fricashinas with the Happy Friday anthem. Always enjoy listening to that. And thank you so much for tuning in to the Discussion Combustion Production YouTube channel. So much great content pumping out here. And you know that I'm super excited also because I get to host this show with one of my very best friends, and that is the capable and able Kevin Batstone.
Happy Friday, America. Final Friday here in March. Happy Easter. Happy opening day for all you Major League Baseball fans. Opening day, of course, being yesterday. Opening day all weekend. It's a great time for baseball fans. Let's go, Art.
Yeah, we're going to get this started off with the good old today in history. So 1929, U.S. President Herbert Hoover has the first telephone installed at the Oval Offices in the White House. So 1929, the first phone is installed. What a way we've come with phones that, like, now they're all in our pockets and stuff. You know,
kind of a big deal. I mean, especially when you have the president with that phone in there. You know, he's got a pen, he's got a phone, he's handling biz.
He's ready to handle that, and I bet you he did. I wonder what the first call is. A test.
It's probably a test call. Yeah.
It's a test.
Yeah.
One thing that stopped in 1945. This was in World War II. The last V-1 flying bomb attacks England, and of course those were coming from Nazi Germany. The last one flew today in 1945, which was kind of interesting. You're kind of more into sports. What's up with this baseball one?
Well, you know, we were just talking opening day here in the intro. So 1948, the Sox and the Yankees. I grew up in the New England area, so that was a huge rivalry growing up. And back in 48, these guys tied 2-2 in 17 innings. It was a spring training game. Of course, you know, right around that same time of kicking off into opening day. That took place right here on this day in history.
So much fun. This was a crazy, long, drawn-out, war of attrition, grueling battle, one of the worst that the United States ever participated in, and that would have been the conflict in Vietnam. In 1973, U.S. troops leave Vietnam 9 years after the Tonkin Resolution. So many lives were lost there, and that's one of the craziest wars. If you're into, like, history, war history, like, the way that they fought that war was on body count, not based upon actual holding of land. And so it was just wild.
One thing that's wild is how much I've learned about history just on Fridays in History here. Mm-hmm. You know, we're talking 52 episodes a year, and there's a lot going on. I've learned a lot about some history here that's going to help me in trivia. And we got some nuke news, don't we not?
Yeah, we had to hit it with the nuke news, dropping bombs on a Friday, and it was all USSR. So they did one in 1981 and another in 1984 on this day in history in their northeastern site. So dropping bombs, and Russia's not the only thing that was dropping bombs. We also have sperm whales dropping bombs with fecal warfare. What's going on with this?
Yeah, defecation warfare over here, guys. This is quite a read. You're going to want to scroll down and click the link to this article because it's pretty wild. Some Western Australia scientists have witnessed and been studying what these sperm whales are doing as a defense mechanism, and that's some fecal defense, Art. Mm-hmm. Basically, what they're calling is the big dark bubble. Okay, what they're doing is they're taking a big old shit, and it's putting up a defense bubble against the impending orca attacks. We've talked about orcas. The killer whale, man. These things will shred anything apart. So I'll tell you what, if I had an orca coming at me, I'd shit myself too.
Yeah, but look.
My shit's probably not going to keep them away.
Yeah, so
I don't shit that much.
I don't know how often this kind of warfare, like how often this defense, it's called. The animals defecate there. I don't know. There's like specific names for this type of defense.
Yeah.
But either way, there's like 30 orca whales trying to come in. These sperm whales were looking exhausted. They were looking distressed, and there happened to be like a tourist group out here watching this. Mm-hmm. And so I never even thought about defecation defense before, but apparently it actually worked in this scenario.
Yeah, it can definitely work in a lot of scenarios, for sure, and it's been proven here in Western Australia. They had poop bubbles coming to the top.
Yeah.
They're like, what is this? They're seeing fecal gas being released into the waters, and then they said, well, what is this? There has to be something more behind why these sperm whales are responding this way. What's interesting is it actually seems to be effective, right? If, you know, the orcas swim into that and they're like, oh, we don't want no part of that shit. Yeah. No pun intended.
Uh-huh.
You see.
Yeah, I mean, hey, if it's able to deter the greatest pack hunters on the planet, then go ahead and do it. But That's the thing, is it has to be stressful. And how do they like force this to happen? Like, can whales just like make a big poop bubble on demand, like at any time?
Maybe they're just holding it in.
Or was it
because
like a stress thing? Like,
it could be.
Had created this. That's what I'm kind of curious about, is like, if these sperm whales, if they could just have a big dark bubble on command.
They might have a big dark bubble on command. I mean, like I said, it goes back to that old saying of like, oh, it scared the shit out of me.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's literally what's happening to these sperm whales. And it's interesting because the orcas are trying to take on a sperm whale, which is essentially above their weight class.
Yeah.
But they're more agile. They can make moves. They can do things that these sperm whales can't. So the only option for these sperm whales right now, Art, is to take a big old shit.
Yep. And hey, if it works, it works. So long live the orcas. I love that. I love the animals. Even though they're like the bad guys of the sea, right? They're kind of like
They're pretty badass.
They're probably like the bullies.
I mean,
They're like the bullies of the ocean, kind of.
They're just the most feared predator of the ocean.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm a huge fan of the orca movement. Orca up, baby.
Yep.
And what we got up next here is a super interesting one on a former manager of Department of Defense of Aerospace, the threat program. He comes out and says that UFOs are actually real, and then that there's actually like definitive proof that UFOs exist. There's footage where it's super clear, non-blurry, easy to see these images of these UFOs. And it was a pretty lengthy article, pretty interesting. But I'm gonna kind of go through this experience that these F-18 pilots had in California. So 2 F-18 pilots, they were flying out there. They saw an object in the sky. There was no exhaust. It didn't like have your traditional wings or anything like that. And so as they tried to like approach this thing, the aircraft like pulled some maneuvers that seemed to defy physics, and then was facing the F-18s, and then like is able to like go up and down and in their height and do all these crazy things that just seem to like defy physics. More F-18s are dispatched, more people run into the same thing, and like the entire military out there, they had like the Navy involved and the Air Force, and like they can't like fully track or like, you know, take any of these down. And from what they're saying is that aliens or the UFOs or whatever, which would be aliens, right?
No.
It could be like another human technology.
Yep.
So they're saying that this technology probably shouldn't exist, and that with it doesn't seem like they're trying to cause harm, but of course, without knowing what the intention is, that can't be taken off the table.
Well, yeah, and that's the thing, is that we there's no question that UFOs are real, but we can't definitively say that there's extraterrestrials operating them, right? I think that's the big piece. It could still be some sort of drone technology that we're not familiar with, or, you know, Russia, Korea, whoever are behind these things. You know, that's all we know at this point, is that there's something out there, we don't know what it is, hence the unidentified flying object. The Pentagon's having meetings about this stuff now, so it's obviously become a little bit more on a mainstream level of conversation, whereas before it was just tinfoil hat, Roswell, New Mexico type stuff. So, look, we've seen the images from these F-18s, and if anyone's going to capture it, it's going to be, you know, one of the fastest aircrafts possible. To be able to keep up with this thing, to be able to have the footage of it. I think it's very interesting. I 100% believe in UFOs. I want to see who's driving that thing, flying that thing.
Yeah, and like what's going on, like, because I think about, like, let's say humans, we're space going, we can explore other planets. What are we doing on those planets? What are we trying to accomplish? I would like to think that if there were extraterrestrials coming here, it would be like somewhat similar. Is it a mission of conquest, which normally, like, what, you need more resources, right? Like, that's kind of like the thought process.
Well, with our radar system now and the way that we can see, you know, thermal imaging and all the satellites that we have out there, you think that the radar and flight tracking patterns and technology would be able to definitively have a better look at this. Seeing something coming in through the atmosphere, seeing it flying through the stratosphere or wherever it is, right? I just feel like we would have more or a better handle on some of that. I mean, we can track any aircraft at any time within a radar period, right? Even if it's identified or not identified, it should pick up on radar in theory.
Yeah. It's interesting. End quote, the fact is that we might not necessarily be alone, now it's time to move forward and try to answer some of life's deepest mysteries. And so it's kind of like, they like saying that UFOs exist. They're not saying that aliens exist definitively. They're saying that one government shouldn't have this information, or one person shouldn't be able to like keep it to themselves, and like that this type of technology could potentially help humanity. And like, so there's all these different branches where you could go from here, right?
Yeah, it makes for interesting conversation, because depending on what folks believe, they don't even believe that there's a possibility of extraterrestrial life. And again, all we know that there is unidentified flying objects. We have it on camera. There's been discussions about it. Let's try to capture one of these suckers and see what's going on with it. That's what I want to know.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm curious in that. And I'm also curious to move on to our next segment, the random records, Kev's random records. You got an interesting one this week.
Oh, man, this is a good one. And it's with one of my favorite record breakers. David Rush is back on Happy Friday. He has broken
That's why you didn't
another
want me to
one.
read this.
Yep. I mean, the guy, he is just a handful away from having the most Guinness Book of World Records of all time, anytime, anywhere. And this one, guys, was not an easy one for him to get the record on, okay? He had to drink a liter of lemon juice through a straw in a record time, right? So he did it. The previous record was 16.5 seconds. He did it in 13.64 seconds. So just
how big is a liter again?
A liter is a lot.
Yeah.
It's bigger than a 750, obviously smaller than a 175.
Through a straw.
So think about a liter of water for a second, and just doing that through a straw. That's difficult enough. Lemon juice, the level of acidity that is going, a liter of lemon juice going into you. He said he had a horrible stomach ache after, suffered tremendously. And it's not like he just did it one go. He had to practice this a few times.
Yeah, I mean, like what? Like in these kind of things, would you not like just get rid of it when you're done? Is that like breaking the rules?
I think you got to hold it down, though. I think you got to hold it down. So 1 liter equates to 4.2 cups.
Yeah.
A cup is 8 ounces. So that's a lot of fluid.
That is. I mean, the liters are like this big or something, right?
Yeah.
Like,
I mean,
like yay.
Yeah, give or take.
Something like that.
And so, I mean, even a cup of lemon juice would be tough.
Yeah, that would be tough.
I mean, you think about when you cook with lemon juice, or you put it on like a piece of fish, you're just putting a squeeze of lemon on there. This is a liter of lemon juice. I can't imagine what it did to his gut. He said he felt horrible.
Was there a video on this guy drinking this?
So scroll down.
Yeah,
click that link.
I would like to see that. I got to look at that one.
We'll watch that when we wrap, because he shows him doing it, and then how he felt 2 days later, whatever, and it wasn't good. But he got another one out of the way, so he's currently at 165 world records under the name of David Rush.
David Rush.
What's he gonna do next?
He made Happy Friday America news yet again. Congratulations, David Rush. And hopefully, aren't like citrus like help you detox or something?
I mean, anything in moderation, right?
Yeah.
I think you'd put too much. That's a lot of acid, man. I think that could cause like a stomach ulcer.
Yeah.
That's a lot of acidity in your tummy.
Yeah, I don't know. I would have probably like discharged it after.
I don't think that. I think he had to keep it down though. It didn't.
For how long?
It didn't specify exactly.
For like how long?
He just had to drink it in that time. I guess maybe he could have yacked it out, but I don't know if Guinness would have counted it if he did. So the fact remains, he digested that thing, and he probably had some painful defecation and urination from that.
I can't imagine.
It's a lot of acid.
See, I could see like kind of like making your pee thick or something, but I don't know how that would affect the stools so much.
Well, I mean, as it digests, just because it's liquid doesn't mean it all goes through the kidney. Some of it has to go, down through the old the shit chute. So, in any case, that is my random records for this week. We're going to move it on to
that was a good one.
The Would You Rather segment.
Yes,
the halfway point of the program, and we're going to go back and review last week's results. As you know, you can participate on Twitter X over there at Happy Fry USA every week. Friday morning it goes up, along with the promo clips and all the fun things, or just drop a comment down below. We talked about this a little bit earlier, so last week's Would You Rather is if you knew aliens existed, would you keep it to yourself or tell the whole world?
Yes.
67% are telling the world, 33% are keeping it a secret.
Interesting.
Yep.
So the majority of people are like the former manager of the Department of Defense of Aerospace Threat Program.
The majority of people want the news out. Yeah, why not spread the news? You know? There's a lot of fake news out there, but if you had the true intel behind this, you'd share it.
That's true. See, and look, it does drive this. If we don't know the answer, mystery breeds obsession, all this kind of stuff. I'm curious, and thank you everybody for participating in the weekly Would You Rather. So this week's Would You Rather, I do want to give credit to Reddit user Spine Grinder 666 for coming up with this one.
Quite the name.
This was a good Would You Rather, actually. So I wanted to give some credit there. Would you rather know if the afterlife exists or if an afterlife exists, or would you rather get $1 million? So before you answer this, I kind of have some thoughts on it, right? Because let's say that you do choose to know if the afterlife exists or not, and then let's say it doesn't. Then like if you're a religious person, then what does that do to the rest of your life?
Right.
And you're just like, oh my God, like all this was fake. Or, on the contrary, you're like, yeah, heaven does exist. And you're like, great, I'm going to keep, living the good life. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. There's definitely some talking points on this one.
Yeah, that's true. I guess I didn't think of it that way because, I immediately went to the money, which I'm going to stand behind the money. I'm going to take the $1 million, I'm going to invest it, and I'm going to do good things with it because the afterlife to me doesn't matter. What matters is what I'm doing right now. But to your point, that does bring up a good topic of conversation because so many people live their life for the afterlife.
Correct.
Right? On a belief system.
Yes.
And that's massive throughout this entire world as far as...
I wonder what kind of percentage of people are living their lives to get to heaven.
I would say over 50%.
Yeah.
On a global level. I think over 50%. You look at Buddhists, you look at Hindus, you look at Judaism, you look at Christianity and Catholicism. That a lot of it, what you do now impacts your afterlife according to religion. I'm not a religious expert. Whatever you believe, that's up to you. But for me, in this Would You Rather, Art, I'm going to take the $1 million. I'm going to be smart with the money, invest it, reinvest it, repurpose it, and try to set up a great life now.
Yeah. See, I think most people are going to take the money, and I'm going to take the money as well.
Yep.
Because here's the thing. If an afterlife did exist, like there's a heaven and this and that, like you could still take the money and then be a decent human being and still be worthy of going into heaven even
Correct.
After taking the money.
Correct.
So it's just one of those things. But like if you were super religious, you were on like the fence about being religious, like is it worth my time? Maybe I would want to know, and then I'll figure out if all this is true or not.
But these guys that truly believe in the afterlife, right? Like they're like, nope, this is it. I go to church every week. I know exactly where I stand with this. I'm going to heaven. I'm getting in there. If they're that confident with it, why wouldn't they take the money?
Yeah, why wouldn't they take the money? That's the thing. I don't know. It was an interesting one. If you have a Would You Rather that you'd like us to ask on here, you can go ahead and submit that to all the socials. We always plug those. But thank you for everyone's participation. You going to know if the afterlife exists, or are you taking the cash, baby? I'm taking the cash. Kev's taking the cash.
Taking the cash. I think America's probably taking the cash. So thanks, Spinegrinder666, for that Would You Rather. All right, we're keeping it moving. Lori, you're going to like this one. Archaeology, okay? This is actually a good read. I would encourage folks to go down and click on this link. This is not an area of my expertise at all, but what I enjoy is some cool history and some art and things that are discovered. So archaeologists discovered a 2,000-year-old rock art down in Brazil. The pictures in the link are going to add a lot more context to this because I don't really understand a lot of this, but there was about 16 sites that suggested a lot of similar artwork that was created over 2,000 years ago by the same cultural group. And some of the patterns that were found in this artwork were like human footprints, tracks from deer, wild pigs, figures that resemble celestial bodies. There was a lot of very similar things that were drawn, because 2,000 years ago, I don't know what they were using to make a lot of this artwork. But what's cool about it is...
So celestial bodies like extraterrestrials?
Could be. Or it's like those, I could picture it. That's why you're going to have to click on the link. You think about like old school rock art. You picture, like tribal stuff and people, dancing around a fire and those kind of things. 2,000 years ago, they were able to determine, I don't know if they used carbon dating or how they were able to determine exactly how long ago this artwork was done, but it was down in the Jalapeno region of Brazil, which I'm not real familiar with the geography of Brazil. I'm sure there's a lot of historical areas where this art was discovered, but it appeared to be a common belief system. So, there was a lot of beliefs amongst the community, through 16 different sites, probably where people were residing and colonies were developing, where they had very similar artwork. And that's pretty cool, man. I thought that was a good read.
I think that, it is interesting because it just goes to show, like, this experience of life has definitely been occurring, and people still express themselves the same way today as they did back then, through art, through creation. And it might just be a different form of art and creation, but we do like to depict things, now we do it through like film or like all these other areas, but The impact that this has, I'm not too sure as far as like, what is it like going to be a good tourist spot? Like, do they even allow tourists to go here, or they have to like really map it out first and like get all the goods out before they would open it up to like the public? Or because things like this would definitely, I feel like, be a great destination. Like, go see some history.
Absolutely, I would love to go do something like this. I don't know a lot about it. It just seems kind of cool. You go to these old locations where a lot of this occurred, and nobody can definitively say exactly what all this meant, but what they're seeing is a pattern, that there was congruent belief systems that translated to this art from over 2,000 years ago, whether that was religious, whether that was a belief system within the local community. There was just a lot of consistencies in this artwork that they found.
Interesting. It probably had something to do with the afterlife and tithing,
probably,
which would be afterlife and money, which are both the super, like, they're always happening, right? I don't know. I thought that was kind of funny to bring that in here. But I do like that. Definitely check out that article.
Good stuff.
This next guy we're talking about is a moron. So I'm just gonna start it off by saying,
is it a Florida man?
No, it was a Texas man. Texas man this time.
Let's go Tejas.
But this guy, all right. So apparently this guy, like, his flight got canceled, and he like needed to get in somewhere in like Utah or something, and like kept getting like his rescheduled flights weren't working, and he was desperate. All right, so this man's getting desperate, so desperate that he goes ahead and starts taking pictures of other people's boarding passes, right? So he's like seeing people sitting around, he's seeing their boarding passes, he's sneaking around, and they see him doing this on the camera footage after they review everything. He's like going around taking pictures of people's boarding passes. So basically what happens is he's trying to get on this flight. When he gets on the flight, he like goes into the laboratory and kind of hangs out in there for a little bit. And the plane starts backing up and going out onto the tarmac on the runway, taxi the plane. And then at that point, he like appears out of the laboratory, and he's all like telling the flight attendant, yeah, seat 21F. And then they verify that seat 21F is actually somebody else's seat that is a verified passenger on this flight. And this is a fully booked flight. Like, there are no available seats. And if it wasn't for that, then he wouldn't have got found out.
Yeah, because they would have just put him in the empty seat.
Yeah, he just got on, no problem. So what they end up stopping the plane on the taxi route. He doesn't have a name on any flight coming out of that day. And so they bring him back in, and he gets arrested immediately. The cops are sitting there waiting.
It's trespassing.
Yeah. What I mean, it was it's a federal it was a felony that he got for illegally stowing on the plane, I think is what the charges were for. Currently, no legal representation was given, so I don't know if he's going to represent himself. But yeah, basically his flights got messed up. He couldn't find another flight, and was getting desperate to leave for some reason, and then tried to sneak on by taking pictures of other people's boarding passes.
Yeah, that's not a good move.
No.
That's not a good move. Obviously didn't work. Probably could have worked if it was a very light flight. But the thing is, if it was a light flight, he would have been on it because he could have got a ticket, a standby, whatever. But yeah, lesson learned there. Always have proper credentials. I've learned this the hard way throughout a couple times in my life. You got to have the right credentials or you're going to get 86'd.
Well, yes, and we could speak from experience on that on another great show, Discussion Combustion. However, the lesson to be had here is to always protect your personal information, like your flight information, your everything. Just, and I hate to say this, but it's almost like we have to expect people to try to take advantage of us any opportunity they can get. Stay vigilant out there. Don't get too comfortable because the snakes are in the grass, okay?
It's good advice. It's good advice. As much as you want to trust everybody around you, you can't. You just can't. There's too many examples of why you can't, and that's why I carry a gun. That's another story. But the fact remains, mind your six, keep your eyes peeled because someone's trying to fuck you one way or the other. So let's keep it moving, Art. Titanic, great movie.
It was a great movie.
I love James
Peter Jackson.
Peter Jackson?
Wait, no. James Cameron, yeah.
James Cameron.
Who's Peter Jackson?
Don't know. But James Cameron is one of my favorite directors of all time.
Yes.
Did The Terminator, did Avatar, did Titanic. I mean, this guy's done epic movies, right?
Yes.
Kate Winslet, Leonardo DiCaprio. Everybody's probably seen Titanic that's listening to this. So people are kind of nerds when it comes to movie memorabilia, right? There's some cool stuff out there. So Titanic's floating door that Kate Winslet, a.k.a. Rose, was floating on during that scene, when she'll never let go, and unfortunately Jack freezes in the frosty Arctic waters, or the Atlantic waters, excuse me, this door went up for bid, okay, the door that was used on set, and it ended up going for $718,750. So, yeah, again, $718,750.
That's crazy.
Almost, I mean, it's $750,000 for a prop that was used in the film.
Yeah, see, I was skimming through this, and I saw that article pop up on another website as well, and I assumed that they were actually selling an authentic piece of
from the Titanic.
Actual Titanic, not a prop from the movie.
I don't know if that door was ever discovered though in the debris.
Yeah, I'm wanting to be all dilapidated or like floated away or something.
It would be dilapidated and completely sogged out from the frosty waters, but just the prop. And so it ended up beating out, because it's now the most expensive prop to ever go to auction. It beat out the Indiana Jones bullwhip, which was up for auction. I know the Terminator 2. The arm that was used, the robotic arm that's in a museum now, that didn't go anywhere near for what this did. Huh. So it's pretty crazy, man, that these movie nerds and collectors or whoever bid on it would pay $750,000 for the wood door. What do you do with that? I mean, you either put it in a museum or you just have stupid money you don't know what to do with, and you go, hey, that's the door that Kate Winslet was on.
Ultimate role play.
Or you could do that.
Ultimate role play.
Yeah, you could do that.
And this person more than likely took the $1 million over knowing if the afterlife existed to have that much to blow on a door prop. It's ridiculous.
It's a little alarming.
Would you buy something like what? You would probably buy like some Jeff Gordon car part, like something like that. You'd probably pay a lot for something like that.
Yes.
Yeah,
I would.
How much would you pay for Jeff Gordon's steering wheel? For the steering wheel or something?
You've been to my place. You see, I have a Jeff Gordon race used connecting rod that was in his engine on display.
Uh-huh.
I did pay for that because I got that during the VIP experience, but I didn't go out of my way to seek it. So what would I want? I don't know, man. It would depend. Because Terminator 2 memorabilia would be cool. It's my favorite movie. John, I know you remember. And so it would be like something like that, but it's hard to say what I would pay. Like, where's the limit on it? First of all, I'd have to have stupid money to do that.
Yeah.
Just throwaway money. Like the $1 million that I'm going to take in the Would You Rather, I'm not buying shit with that. I'm investing that. I'm being smart with that money. But if I got Elon Musk money,
yeah, you just got.
I'd probably try to buy like one of the grandfather clocks that Jeff Gordon won at Martinsville or something.
Oh, okay. I see. Like a trophy type of situation.
Yeah. Like did Jeff won this trophy at Martinsville Speedway. I'd probably buy something like that. If Jeff was willing to sell it.
Interesting. Yeah, see, I don't know what I would get all Jonesy about, Like, I don't know what kind of movie prop, maybe something Star Wars related.
Yeah.
It would be cool. Like,
what's your favorite movie of all time?
I don't know.
Okay.
I really don't know right now. I've been having a hard time. Like, if people ask me dog questions, like, what kind of dog personality do you got? Like, I don't know what kind of movies is my favorite right now. I like a lot of movies. That's the thing.
Me too.
So I don't know. Like the whole favorite song, favorite album thing. Like,
it's hard.
I don't think that answer stays the same for people. Like it's a fluid answer.
Yeah, it's like asking what your favorite food is. It depends on the day. Mm-hmm. Right. Yesterday was pizza. Today was tacos.
Yeah, I think it would be cool to like have one of the lightsabers, like
that would be cool,
from the original trilogy.
Yeah,
from Star Wars. I think that would be kind of cool.
Yeah, from when Darth Vader didn't say, "Luke, I am your father." That'd be awesome.
Yeah, the Mandelas effects.
That's another show for another time. But
we got Easter weekend coming up, man.
Easter weekend, man. Yeah, and whatever you guys got going on, hopefully it's fun. You're having, being safe. There's if you want to get out and about this weekend and go do something a little bit different, the weather's looking pretty good around the country. I know New England's getting hit with a little bit of snow and rain, but out there at Madison Square Garden, New York City, Nicki Minaj tomorrow night headlining out there. I'm not the biggest Nicki Minaj fan, but I'm sure it's going to be a tremendous performance.
Yep, and as we mentioned earlier, opening day is starting, so go to the field, get yourself some Cracker Jacks, and let's go ahead and get a foot-long hot dog too. That sounds good. And like, even though I haven't been drinking that much recently, like
ballpark beer,
a ballpark beer with like a Frank, like that sounds just satisfying.
Oh, the ballpark, yeah, the brat with the sauerkraut and the onions. I mean,
but that thing got to be frosty cold. Like I'm talking like frosty.
Oh yeah, nice and cold like the Rocky Mountains, of course. Yeah, love baseball. Obviously, Easter's going on, so you're going to have some colored Easter eggs, some Easter egg hunts. That was always fun as a kid. You'd put little, candies and little things in the eggs, and you'd hide them around the yard. And it's fun, man. Get the kids outdoors.
I liked when there was, like, a couple dollars in the egg.
Oh, yeah. The money was fun.
Fine there. But, a couple dollars back when I was a kid, It was just different. And we used to have like the toy store, like which was
Yes.
on Kearney Street, a couple blocks up. So you'd like, take your couple dollars that you got out of there. You could go buy like a plastic army man. You could go
Yep.
buy maybe a couple of those. Pew it. Fun times.
Yeah, times were a little different.
Now what are they putting in here? They're putting in like Amazon gift cards or like
Probably.
like a USB drive with like, I don't know, some kind of like learning game on it or something.
Yeah, I don't know what they're putting in the eggs, but hopefully that tradition continues, and you color the eggs, then you can make egg salad with it later if that's something you're into.
And I really challenge parents to test your children's intelligence and like let's really be creative with these hiding spots this year, okay?
Yeah, let's not to be too obvious.
Yeah.
I mean, you put a couple, in the obvious spot because they want them to think it's going to be easy, but you want to look for these Easter eggs, right? You really want to hunt, You're going to find them, but don't make it too obvious. Let's make them work for it.
Yeah, let's make them work for it.
There is no YouTube video on how to find these eggs. You got to find them.
Yeah. Yeah, you got to find them. And just like these people in Richmond this Sunday night are going to be all looking to find a white checkered flag.
Oh.
I don't think I said that right.
No, I know what you meant.
The white and checkered flag. They're
Well,
trying to get the number one spot here. NASCAR, baby.
If you're in P1 and you see the white flag, the next flag ends the race. So you want to see that white flag because you don't have a restart. And if it's a checker flag or it's a yellow flag, you win the race unless it's side by side. We're in Richmond, baby. It's a 3/4 mile racetrack. I love Richmond. It's going to be Sunday night so everyone can have their Easter meals, have their fun. I'm going to be smoking a salmon for mom and dad. We're going to get together on Sunday afternoon and eat that. What do you got going on for Easter?
For Easter, probably some good cooking, see the family a little bit. I honestly don't have any plans as of right now, so I'm taking it on a
Come
whim.
on by and watch some racing.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's get you on there. All right, guys, we got to get out of here. It's Friday. It's time for the weekends, the final Friday of March, of course. April Fool's is on Monday, so have fun with that with your friends and family, but don't get too carried away with it. I know Art and I have had some fun with that on some other shows in the past and have actually led to continuous trends from that. But that's another story for another time. Be sure to follow us on all social media platforms, Instagram and Facebook at Happy Friday USA. Definitely mash that subscribe button here on YouTube on the Discussion Combustion Production YouTube channel where you can find Discussion Combustion Podcast, Happy Friday America, and Raw Talk. Weekly shows coming your way. The content never stops around here. Twitter X, as I mentioned, that's where you're going to participate in the polls. That's going to be at Happy Fry USA. Send us an email over at happyfridayamerica@gmail.com. If you have a would you rather, you just want to give us a little bit of gripe and have some fun, send us whatever, guys. We're here to have fun. We're here to get involved. It's the weekend. We've worked hard all week. Enjoy your weekend, America. Hit it, fricashinas.